This episode is brought to you by the new book, Round Here and Over Yonder, written by authors Trae Crowder and Corey Ryan Forrester. That's ya boy. The book is out now. I would like to thank everyone who did the pre-order, but for those of you who were like, you know what, I want to wait and actually go to a bookstore and pick this thing up, well, you can do that right now. Round Here and Over Yonder, a front porch travel guide written by two progressive hillbillies. Parenthetical, yes, that's a thing. We love long titles, but we love making you laugh even more. This book is chock full of jokes. We chock-filled it too. It's got a bunch of jokes in it. It's really, really, really fun. We tried to take the stereotypes of certain regions, talk about what they are, talk about what they got right, talk about what the actual reality is. Of course, we did it with our own little region here in the South. We went everywhere else in the United States, and for the first time in our lives, we went to the UK. It's Rednecks Abroad. The book is Round Here and Over Yonder. Not to brag on us, but I will. It is hilarious. Pick it up now wherever you get books. And by the way, we narrated the audio version if that's how you want to digest it. But there is no wrong way. Round Here and Over Yonder, wherever you get your books. Do it at an indie bookstore. I like that more. Don't tell Amazon though. Bye.
Here we are.
Here we are, Drew. I must say, off the top.
Okay.
For those of you who only experiencing this through audio, Drew looks like, you've never not looked like a redneck to me, but you look like a very specific, like you look like you just got back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And it's really hitting for me.
I got my Tony Campbell hat. Shout out TK, our boy. Nicest, coolest, hottest guy in the world. But
so hot.
It does look like if you zoom in, my hat's gonna actually say you weren't there.
Yeah, and it's the wife beater's doing a lot of the heavy lifting as it always does. I have that same hat, and this is how much color matters. I have that same hat, but it's in white, which I love it, but I look like a frat boy golfer when I'm wearing it. And yeah, you look like somebody who like is gonna look directly through me at the food line. Yeah, that's the you weren't there eyes.
You kids ever seen Tannerite? Yeah, so I was at the gym, and then I had my clothes, and long story short, this is the only clean shirt I could change into without going home, and I didn't have time to, but I like cotton undershirts that aren't ribbed, so I never wear ribbed wife beaters, and I do feel like, okay, if I were skinnier or hotter or just didn't look like a redneck, I think this is less of a redneck shirt.
Agreed. You're Adam Devine, or you're Maroon 5 then.
But on a redneck, the unribbed, it just looks like you put a regular T-shirt on and the sleeves melted off.
Yep.
Like you had a receding shirt line.
It doesn't look like something you bought that way. Mm-mm. That's for sure.
No. Honestly, that's what you would say about me. As like if there was a husband store, Andy would be like, well, he wasn't like this when we bought him.
Yeah. Also, too, a lot of it has to do with you definitely got a haircut recently. So, like, your facial hair and your haircut both look like 3 months ago it was all buzzed down and you've just been home. You know what I mean? You're letting it all hang out. Yeah,
this is my first chance that I've had to let it out.
Can I show you what I think you look a little bit like?
Oh, yes. That's the voice of producer here. Yo, dude, he's got a better hairline than
Michael Rappaport on Justified.
I was about to say, Drew, are you rewatching Justified right now?
It's not a rewatch for me. Andy and I started it, and then life happened, and we never went back to it. So I don't even know what Rappaport's character is. Don't tell me anything about it. I find him to be unbearable on social media, but I've always liked him in stuff.
Okay. Well, I won't say anything except for imagine Michael Rappaport playing a redneck from Florida. There you go. You got it.
Thank God he's from Florida, so I don't have to hear him attempt to do a Kentucky accent, because that would be the funniest. Like, it would be funny. It would be one of those things where a clip would be hilarious. Yeah. But the show would be unwatchable.
That's actually a great point. Like, for if you ever have someone that's not from the South playing a redneck character, you can get out of a lot of shit by just saying they're from Florida. 100%. You know what I mean? Because none of us know what that accent is. It could be anything.
Yeah, and it's got there's a few Florida accents too. That's the other great thing about it. And if you live in Florida, you might be able to be like, why does this guy sound like he's from Lakeland, but they're saying he lives in the swamp? But if you don't live in
as long
Florida,
as you don't mention a city, if you just say Florida, then like you can carte blanche.
I agree. I feel like if you're from Florida, you know. Like the way he looks in that, he should sound like he's from the swamp. Although, I don't know. You know what, Aaron? Can you pull it back up, please? For those of you who are only listening, I guess I'm sorry because we did start out as an audio podcast, but you should try every once in a while to view us on YouTube because really this is a show now. It's not even a podcast. Yep. This is a live show. By the way, Trae's not here, and I wasn't going to address it, but then I just realized I should because we're talking about it as a show. But you guys literally, and I may have told y'all this on air, but maybe not. I've listened back when I'm not here for one purpose and one purpose only. I'll listen till they acknowledge that I'm not there. I've made it through entire shows before.
That's on purpose.
Which remind me, no, it's not. Which remind me, no, it isn't.
Yes,
no,
it is. It's
not.
on purpose to see how long it takes people to figure it out.
You are a good liar. Trae's not. And there's been times where y'all have thought of it at like minute 48, and he is not faking it. He's going, oh, shit, yeah. He's not good enough to do that if it was on purpose. Remind me when he gets here to read something to you guys. Speaking of the podcast being watched, and speaking of me and wife beaters.
Okay, yeah.
Trae's going to be here soon.
I can't wait.
Everybody. My baby's late. Oh, yeah, okay. We've got Rappaport.
There's literally a fan boat behind him.
By the way, everybody,
I like how he
clap
refused.
it up for producer Aaron. I'm so glad you're here because we didn't have a picture element to this, but I'm so glad. And you've just opened up a can of worms because we are going to be shouting things at you from now on to throw on the screen.
Sure.
I like how he refused, Rappaport, not producer Aaron. I like how he refused to change his Guido hair, which is Florida, but again, it's south of Orlando, Florida. It's like Boats and Muscle, Florida.
Right.
And then he's got that 90s arm wristband, the leather strap, which we've talked about numerous times on here before, how back in the day in the 2000s I wanted one of those, but I hated everyone who'd ever worn one, so I refused to do it. There's just something about how he looks so fucking Italian, even dressed. He's Larry the don't worry about it guy.
Hey.
Yeah. Larry the I know a guy.
That's such a Southern thing, or that's such a Jersey thing. That I know a guy.
Yeah, I know.
When we're down here, if somebody needs help, we go, "Oh man, my buddy," and then we explain his things. But up there, they don't even explain. They're just like, "Yeah, I know a guy." Like if your sink fucks up, they'll go, "Don't worry about it. I know a guy." And you're like, "Oh, you know a plumber?" Nah, but I got a guy. Don't worry about it. I got a guy.
Got a guy for that.
Hey. Before Trae gets here and we talk about all that, maybe you knew this, but I didn't, and or at least till recently. Did you know that, because you were talking about basketball earlier, did you know that John Tesh wrote the NBA theme music?
I did.
Have you seen that clip of how he did it?
Oh, no, I don't know about that.
Dude, this was great. So John Tesh,
for those people who don't know, Corey is a John Tesh mark. Like Corey is a huge John Tesh fan. Like the way that some people are Randy Newman fans, which Corey is also a Randy Newman fan. The way that some people are, like, there's these obscure kind of older artists, and they all make sense. Randy Newman, I'm like, okay, you're 15 and you love Randy Newman, but he writes show tunes. I get it. Yeah. Like you found one song and you're like, there's nothing like this. How do you become a John Tesh fan?
I think it was a lot of my mom. Like he was
Your
a guy that was just kind of on in the background because he's also had like a morning show.
He had a morning show. Okay, how did he get it? Why did he have a morning show?
Dude,
why do we know
wild,
anything about John Tesh?
This is like peeling back the onions. Like I didn't know any of this. Like he was a great commercial songwriter, I guess, and he's one of those like
name one guy that's true of, and we know their name.
Barry Manilow.
I have no idea. I'm saying what I think is true.
Yeah, Barry Manilow wrote commercial jingles before
and that launched both of them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying that John Tesh is a very vanilla. Women from the Midwest, the target demos for some of these morning shows are just like, ooh, like he's a rock star that they feel safe with, I guess.
John Tesh was he was the co-host of Entertainment Tonight. with Mary
There you go.
Hart
Yes, that was it.
For decades,
he was back in the day during like the Seinfeld must-see TV Thursday. He was the guy on Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah.
So he was popular along with his music, and now he does like a morning show that I catch pieces of from time to time.
Is this a situation then where someone is like is a Ryan Seacrest type, and they just so happen to be able to write music?
I think so.
Or did the music lead to this gig? Because that's the part I'm
the
trying
music
to figure
led to the
out.
gig.
So how, like, what was his career? Did he put out songs? Did he have hits?
Yeah, he definitely had hits, like
Aaron,
on
do you know him?
soft
'Cause
rock
you
radio
clearly
and
don't.
stuff, you know. But
He's
I think that he's also
heavy on
doing
the
jingles
Christian
because, like,
side.
so in this clip that I see, it looks like he's in like Carnegie Hall or something. He's wearing tails, like it's a very professional looking orchestra type thing. And he starts explaining to the audience that he had actually come up with the jingle for NBA Tonight or whatever. And he was talking about how they wanted him to do it, and he came up with it while he was on the road and he didn't have any of his instruments. So he just called his voicemail and just hummed all the things that he thought it would be. And he played the voicemail on stage. Like he put his microphone up to his actual old answering machine. And it literally goes, "This is John Tesh calling for John Tesh. This is how I think this is how I think this song should go." And he just goes, and then the audience goes crazy, and he just all of a sudden he looks back, he flips his fingers at the drummer, he starts going do 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 do. John Tesh starts pretending like the bass kick is a basketball. John Tesh is just up there like pretending like he's playing basketball. Then he hits the piano, and the whole crowd went fucking crazy. And that's how I found out that he did that.
Well, goddamn.
He was a news host first.
I got to put some respect on John Tesh's name. So he was a news host who dabbled in music. I
didn't know that.
That's kind of wild.
It is wild.
To be, I think the most popular example is a Ryan Seacrest type. Because
sure, Mark McGrath, I would say, is equally as popular.
Mark McGrath's a musician.
I know, but he also does the Entertainment Tonight stuff now.
But that's my point. Mark McGrath had hits, and then they were like, hey, people recognize your fucking face, guy who looks like Guy Fieri went on a diet. You can have a job. And I'm trying to figure out with Tesh how he parlayed this I play into a TV career. It sounds like it was the other way around. It sounds like a host who was working his way up in the host game, which is a career, just also dabbled in organ music.
Yeah, and so much to the fact that I'm kind of bugged out right now to find out that was his secondary thing. Like I totally thought it was John Tesh had a bunch of soft rock hits in the 80s and 90s, and then they were like, "Hey, you'd be good for television because you're blonde and you're handsome."
I did too, but I always kind of wondered, like, man, how do you do that? How do you parlay me not knowing anything about his music? Because like I knew about his music, but I know about his music now. Because now I know he does it. Now he's famous and he tours. But it's like, what's the beginning of this? What's the origin story of one John Tesh? And I think he just like formed at the Iowa State Fair as a full adult hosting the Weather Channel.
No, I feel you. And it's like too with like, okay, Dave Letterman's a different example because like, he was a weatherman, then became a comedian. But you know that he probably always wanted to be a comedian, but he's like, I'm from Indiana, I'll be a weatherman and then work on it. And then you think about dudes like Pat Sajak almost had the Tonight Show. Like Pat Sajak almost had the Tonight Show.
That's
and with game show dudes, like I had the opportunity almost to host a game show. I got to write it and it was about to be a thing, and then COVID happened. But I was already doing other forms of entertainment. But there's some dudes like Pat Sajak, you're like, did this guy just like decide like who the fuck goes, I'm gonna be a game show host? I'm glad there are them, but like
usually actors, I think, right? Or is it comics?
Maybe, but Sajak did stand up.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like
it does now, but I found that out way later.
Some people freak out when they find out Mike Rowe was an actor, and I'm like, what did people think he had been doing?
Right.
But that's to me what makes Tesh wild, and it's like he's one of them dudes, and then also that's a composer, dog. That's not that's not a like Bruce Willis has a rock band and it's terrible. That's a composer.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What have we found out?
Do you now understand why John Tesh hits for me? The man contains multitudes.
No, I still don't get. I like this is like this is. I can't let go of why does he hit because this is my point. I just don't understand how this happens, how the weatherman becomes the NBA songwriter and then sells out. This is the part that bugs me out, and then sells out theaters. With what? Are chicks really just out there like ba-da-da-da-da-da, throwing their panties?
Moms, and they're throwing their girdles, yes.
Well, grandmas now. I mean, they were moms when we were in college.
Yeah. No, dude, I mean, I don't get it either. And, like, for the record, like, dude, I'm not never
shitting on
once...
Tesh.
Of course not.
I'm saying, how's he selling these tickets?
Yeah, and all of this John Tesh hits for Corey happened because, John Tesh does hit for me. But it was just like one day I remember we were on the road or something. I said, yeah, I was listening to John Tesh this morning. and it was just because, like, there was something I listened to. Maybe it was Sirius that he had a little morning segment in. And so it's not like, dude, I don't think I've ever intentionally, like, played a John Tesh song. I am a huge, there's so many people that I'm a huge fan of just because they were on when I was a kid. And now when I see them, it's like this big nostalgia thing. Like, dude, I don't think that I ever was like, I can't wait to watch Oprah with my mom.
I get that. But if Oprah had an album, it would be an embarrassment for her at this point in her career. Like, I'm not surprised people like John Tesh and they're comfortable with John Tesh and that he's a good host. I'm saying, and then he just started putting out records and people were like, yeah, we'll go see it. And then he just was good at it. That's admirable. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
It is admirable, and I do think he hits, but it is also
the John
possible.
Tesh of comedy, Trae Crowder.
Hey, everybody.
Fancy.
Oh, shit. I meant to hit the applause. That's on me. Yeah, but also, you got to understand, when he rose to prominence, I think it was like the late 80s, early 90s. And if you were a charming white man with any modicum of talent, you had a shot.
I get how John Tesh ended up having a career as a host. I'm saying that it's wild that he's also this talented as a composer, and that I don't get how he then sells out concert halls. Did you know that John Tesh was known as a host before he was ever known as a musician? He didn't parlay musicianship into being a TV guy.
No, I didn't know that. I thought it was the opposite.
Because
because they used to do that.
Right.
Like Johnny Cash had a variety show. Dinah Shore.
Johnny Cash, Mark McGrath.
Dinah Shore. Oh, dude.
He keeps pushing Mark McGrath.
Mark McGrath. Hang on. So, Dinah Shore.
Okay.
Right. Golden era.
Which, by the way, I literally thought was a place stars hung out. Like, I would hear that name. It was
on the Dinah Shore.
I'd be like, yeah, there.
It makes sense. But she's from fucking Winchester, Tennessee. You ever been to Winchester?
Yeah, I had an aunt from there.
It's redneck as fuck.
It's right by the
rural white
Jack
trash,
Daniels, right?
Like
it's close to Manchester. It is.
Yeah.
It's close to Manchester, but it's on the east side, I think, whereas Lynchburg's on the other side of it, ain't it?
You talking about of the
I drive through Winchester to get to Nashville when I'm coming, or Knoxville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that just blew my mind when I got there, because I went there once for the first time, literally as part of a documentary crew about pills, right?
Yeah, sure.
And
she had good pills.
Sitting there, and I see like Dinah Shore Boulevard, like downtown in Winchester, and I was like, that's weird. That's weird that Winchester latched on to Dinah Shore, because I knew who Dinah Shore was. But then I Googled it, and she's from there, and I just like, I didn't know that ever happened back then. She had to be like was she like a Southern Belle, like a debutante, like from Old Money? Because like people wasn't making it out of Winchester in the fucking 40s or whatever. Well, not women especially.
There were a lot of Old Money types in that area, because are you familiar with Bell Buckle, Tennessee?
I've heard of it.
And the fact that it has one of the oldest all-boys private schools in the United States of America. Like, I had a guy who came from like Brazilian Old Money, who had citizenship in both countries, who worked with me as an attorney in Miami. And he was like, oh, yeah, I went to high school in Tennessee. And he showed me, he was like, Bell Buckle. And I was like, I've never heard of this place. It's older than Swanee. They play against Swanee, like in the same.
Yeah, right.
It's that part of Tennessee that's more like Alabama in many ways. So I bet you're on to something.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I thought that was wild. But Mark McGrath, and I just, apparently there's a legendary internet video that I wasn't aware of until very recently, and I don't know if y'all are aware of it. There's a
Where he's
video
using all them slurs?
Like what he flips out on a young fan because that fan calls him sugar gay.
Yeah.
It's like a teenager.
It's not even clever.
I know. It's like a teenager who has like shit he wants him to sign, by the way, so that part's funny too. He's like got like posters or something, and he's like, hey, sugar gay, right? And McGrath like loses his fucking mind over it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
that's just that's
great.
what I think of when I think of Mark McGrath. Now I think Sugar Gay and him flipping the fuck out.
I think of how, and we've done this before. But
Don't you talk about sugar like that.
I think about how Mark McGrath is.
No, Sugar not gay. Sugar good.
The artist of the 2000s. And I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying, but like he is the most
2000s
honest representation of that era. And some of them lyrics, dude, I fuck with some of them lyrics.
Dude, every morning there's a halo on the corner of my girlfriend's 4-post bed. It was a perfect way to say that because as a kid, my mom was like, he don't know that that's a condom. So like we can still vibe out to this. You know what I mean?
Across-
When I found out that meant a condom, blew my mind.
All across the world, statues crumble for me.
Great.
What a fucking line, dude.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna lie. I was today years old when I realized that
That it was a condom?
Yeah,
Dude, he
Never thought about it.
He contains multitudes, much like John Tesh.
but also more like appropriately.
Yeah.
Old Fat Boy Drunk, rest in peace, that just died from Smashmouth.
Yes.
Right? Because also
That was his name, Fat Boy Drunk.
yeah, Fat Boy Slim. Him and Fat Boy Slim started out together.
Yeah.
And then he went to the Sky Fund.
They were like, that's how Red Bull Vodka got invented.
Yeah, exactly. And Fat Boy Slim was like, listen, you can't be Fat Boy Drunk if we're not going to be a crew anymore. And that's when he changed it.
And imagine Fat Boy Slim like carrying a Red Bull and him carrying vodka, and they bump into each other and they mix, and that's how Red Bull Vodka's got invented.
Fat Boy Slim and Fat Boy Drunk. That's so funny. Anyway, his name's Steve or something,
Who gives a fuck?
Right.
He's Fat Boy Drunk forever.
Steve Harwell.
Rest in peace, Fat Boy Drunk.
Thank you, Aaron.
Steve Harwell.
Steve Harwell.
FBD. R.I.P. FBD.
Appreciate it. Anyway, like...
By the way, Aaron's
what
been
el-
on fire today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
Good. Glad to hear it. Smashmouth was like that, right? Like one of those songs, one of their famous songs is like about
Walking on the sun.
global warming
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, right.
And like the nihilism of our culture not giving a fuck about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is funny because people just think of
Astro Lounge
You know
was
why,
a great
Trae?
album.
Because he had a line beard. People don't
Yeah.
respect it. Just like fucking Sugar Ray had the spiky Guy Fieri thing going on.
Hey, I was about to say, and you know what? Both of them, Sugar Ray and Fat Boy Drunk, are two separate types of version of Guy Fieri. Both of them.
That's funny. You're right. If you combine, Sugar Ray,
Mark McGrath and him,
Sugar
you
Ray
get
and Fat
Guy
Boy
Fieri.
Drunk, you get Guy Fieri. Yeah.
We figured out who Q is on this show, and we figured out Fat Boy Drunk. Dude, what if Guy Fieri was furious that he didn't get to be Fat Boy Drunk? Like,
Probably
dude,
was.
that's
He's
my
fat-
fucking name, dude.
He's Fat Boy Show, I guess, is what his thing
God.
is. But yeah.
He's Fat Boy kind.
But also,
Astro Lounge, which is what that album came off of, I'm pretty sure, because I had it.
that was a
really
good
album.
era.
Smashmouth was a good band.
Lit
and then
was
they
a
had,
good band.
They had All Star, which was like it seemed like they were going to be a one-hit wonder, but like the amount of money that they probably made doing that cover for the fucking Shrek movie.
Oh, dude.
Like Smash Mouth
dude,
was relevant way longer than you'd think they would have
It
been.
was
of
enough
that.
to kill him.
because of that, so first of all, so
He didn't die poor.
he, as far as Mark McGrath goes, he also has a legendary video of him losing it on people, but it's because they're throwing bread at the stage. Right.
Fat Boy Drunk got bread thrown at him.
They were throwing bread?
Yeah. Because apparently the show was sponsored by like Wonder Bread. It's like Smashmouth, brought to you by Wonder Bread, or something like that. And because Wonder Bread's like, well, we can't give out beer, we're not Wonder Beer, so they gave people bread, right, at a concert, and people were like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this bread. I'm going to throw it at Fat Boy Drunk, right? And so they did, and he flipped the fuck out. And, like, y'all never saw that video either? That one was more recent. That was like 3 or 4 years ago.
I've seen it, but
I'd
I
love
only
to see
saw
a
the him
documentary
flipping out
about the
part.
first bread tosser.
He's flipping the fuck out while the band just keeps, like, looping the intro to All-Star in the back. Just kind of, you can just see him sitting there just like, fucking goddamn it. Not again. Here goes Steve again.
Steve's mad about the
and
bread.
Steve's up there like, I'll rip your fucking heads off and shove it down your fucking throat, you father. Yeah, they're back there just like, yeah,
now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, life is absurd.
All that
What's
glitters
that?
is
What's
gold.
that from?
What life is absurd?
No, it's life is unfair. What's that?
I don't know, dude. I like this 2000s rock thing.
Well,
we're
this
doing.
is from that same era.
I like
life
Live.
is
Yeah,
unfair.
well, let's do this.
Was it Everclear?
Throw out.
Was it Everclear?
I think it's maybe a
Feels
TV show,
Everclear-y.
like a credit. Corey, you know what I'm talking about either? It's like a
Life is
Nickelodeon show.
Unfair?
It ends.
And-
They do a song and then it ends with "Life is unfair." I'm pretty sure.
You have that same
Hey
thing I do
Arnold
where
or
you
Rugrats or
you
something?
can hear
I
the
don't know.
melody,
Not
but you can't
Rugrats.
hit it. I got that thing too. It's not
Ed, Ed, and
tone
Eddie?
deaf because tone deaf people can't even hear it. I hate that, man. I'm sorry. I know how you feel right now.
Being tone deaf wouldn't hit.
I don't think it's real. Because wouldn't that mean you couldn't? You literally couldn't
It
hear
is
the
the
difference.
bisexualism of hearing of like
Pan.
disabilities.
It's pan.
I'm pretty sure Val, our agent, I think he's tone deaf.
I think people can't do tunes of music, but like if you were tone deaf, literally, wouldn't that mean you couldn't hear the difference between like like when you be
Yeah.
like?
Well, if you took the phrase tone deaf literally, it would have to mean that.
So
I
what
guess.
does it mean?
Surely that's not true.
What does it mean then?
I don't know. They can't. Damn. What does it mean?
Because if
Tone deaf is also a really good synonym for autism, just because like you can't read the room. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you go that way with it.
well, right. Well, I can't, and I think this is what you were just struggling with. Hit the musical notes of a tone or a tune. Excuse me, a tune I'm hearing in my head, but I can hear it. So I'm not tone deaf.
yeah.
I can hear the differences, but I can't do it myself. I don't have the voice to match. So it's not like my ear for music doesn't exist. It's my voice. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's how I feel like people use it. They're like, "Oh, you can't sing? You're tone deaf."
Well, what is perfect pitch then? I know it's the exact, but I'm saying like there's people that do that don't sing, right? Can't you have perfect pitch and not be a singer?
I don't know.
I think so. I'm pretty sure it's a thing. I think it's like a thing you're born with. Some people are born with perfect pitch, but I think some of them it goes like the other way, like they use it to identify.
I was about
Pitch.
to say,
I don't know
if
if
you're
this
not
is-
singing
I
though,
don't
how
know
do
if
you
this is
discover that you
interesting
have
at
it?
all. I don't know, man. I
You
don't
gonna
know.
pull it out?
I'm gonna try. I guess.
We can move on.
Yeah, go ahead. But I'm gonna look this up or try to.
Well, let's wrap it up on John Tesh. I got to give it up for the man. I don't know what he does or how he does it, but it's impressive. And specifically, selling out theaters. That's the part where I'm like, how does he tour? How do you tour?
But now you
on-
get it.
No, I get his career and that he has one and why, because he's famous. I genuinely don't understand someone selling out tours for a concert because they host a morning show and wrote the NBA theme song.
I
Corey,
think
that's insane.
But if
In
you
a good
think about
way.
it though, like the morning show demographic, it is crazy. But like,
What do
that
they think they're going to
demographic
see when
that
they
he-
get there? Why are they
it's just
coming
like-
out?
Because that's a safe concert for them to go to. Like, I don't know, like that.
To hear what?
Middle
The
American
NBA
women,
theme
that's who
song?
you-
Hold on. You're telling me that
No,
like John
dude,
Tesh.
he's got hits besides
I was
the
about
theme
to
song.
say.
Oh.
I was about to say. You're telling me John Tesh don't have like an ouvroir? I thought I don't
Yeah,
fuck
he
with
does.
John
What are they?
Tesh. I don't know
Well, I
because
mean,
I don't
that-
fuck with him. I just always thought he was one of those dudes. No.
What are they?
No, the whole reason
I
I,
don't know.
brought it up is because it blew my mind that guy did the NBA. Like, I didn't know he fucked with that. But I'm saying, like, he was really big on, like, AM and soft rock stations. And that demographic, when you get a hold of them, like your middle America white women who say darn, like, I don't know. That's like, there's a lot of them.
I didn't think they went out to shows of the guy who they heard on AM radio that morning. I thought they went out to shows of the band like Smashmouth, who was big when they were in high school and is now doing the county fair on the way down circuit.
Yeah.
Like I like the idea that this man puts out music, people consume it and then go to theaters to watch him is mind blowing when you consider that didn't work for Bruce Willis. It didn't work for Eddie Murphy. It didn't work for...
He's still doing that? John Tesh is alive and touring and recording?
I don't know, but I
Guys-
know that he had a decades-long career.
Guys, John Tesh has 44 albums.
44
Yeah,
albums.
studio, not
Dude,
including
this whole-
live and compilations.
That's
Yeah, Trae,
crazy.
you missed it. You missed it, but the reason we're even talking about this is because I found out that he did the NBA theme song, and I
Right.
saw a clip of him in concert doing it to the crowd, and like theater, he's wearing like fucking a tuxedo and shit, and he's just going ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Well, that's great. There's whole worlds of people who you don't like understand their. It's great. That's
No,
lovely.
dude, he did the 9-minute version for me.
Yeah.
And I just went, well, goddamn.
I don't know what else to say about it, but
I'm not mad.
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's niche things.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Someone that even I have heard of who I didn't fuck with at all, but I've heard of them. I'm not surprised that they have a niche
I think
I had never
I
heard
think
of Russell
44
Peters
albums.
until. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think 44 albums puts it even more in my camp of what the fuck is going on with this guy. He has
I agree.
44 albums. That's more than one a year. It has to be. Or maybe it is one a year at this point.
I feel like hasn't put one out in a while, but the last 20
Why
or
would he?
so are hardcore Christian.
Hardcore Christian. There
Okay,
you
that
go.
explains it.
There
All
you
right,
go.
that's it.
Okay.
Never mind. All right. Carry on,
we got it.
everybody.
That'll do it.
Yep. We'll do it.
I was
So
waiting
I
on
found
a thing.
it.
Oh, go ahead.
It actually, perfect pitch primarily refers to hearing, not singing.
Makes sense.
It's that it refers to a person's ability to identify any musical note by name after hearing it without reference to other notes. So you just hit one note by itself, and they can tell you exactly what note it is every single time. That's perfect pitch. Perfect pitch, also known more technically as absolute pitch, can also refer to the ability that some singers have to sing a given note on cue. But it's mostly the hearing it. Yeah, it's like she's got perfect pitch. I'm
So
pretty
what
sure.
is tone? Do we get a tone deaf definition on the opposite end of the spectrum?
We're about to find
Everything
out.
sounds the same to you?
But that to me is like, how can you even tell the difference? How can you do sarcasm?
Right.
How can you do question versus statement? Sometimes you go, Trae? And it's like, can they pick up that that's a question?
Right.
This
and Val
says-
can very much, he knows sarcasm. Otherwise, we wouldn't have as good of a relationship with him.
It says unable to perceive differences of musical pitch accurately. So I feel like they can't.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, who
so
gives a
I
fuck?
accept it. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Like, who the fuck can do
I thought
that?
it was like
John
this horrible
Mayer?
thing to have, but like they can still hear music. They just can't go. That's a C. That's an A.
This says like often the term tone deaf is used to describe a person with little musical talent, but those with genuine tone deafness are unable to distinguish differences in pitch.
That's crazy. That's got to be rare.
Yeah,
That's insane.
That's also got to
It's
be
called
a horrible way to exist.
amusia. Amusia is a congenital
Amusia.
is a congenital impairment that affects 4% of the population.
That's what Italians called minorities for years.
This fucking kid, you can't do nothing with him. He's got amusia.
Yeah. Find them to be a musia. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Can it be no treatment, nothing like that? I don't know. That is weird to think about.
I got a Raven thing that I waited on you to get here. Up top, Corey had a lot of fun talking about how I look like I coach softball at a prison league.
Yeah.
And how he looks like he just got back from Vietnam.
Yeah, that was mostly the bit. So I've been waiting to talk to you guys about
Malcolm
this.
in the Middle, by the way. Malcolm in the Middle's theme song ended with "Life is unfair."
That's right. Life is unfair.
Written by John Tesh.
Exactly. All right. Anyway, that was gonna drive me crazy, but yeah, it was Malcolm in the Middle theme song. Go ahead.
So I put a joke out. I've been waiting on this. I put a joke out a little while ago, and it's doing some numbers. And then someone says, who's clearly a fan, your arms look bigger than one would think by listening to the podcast. Nice.
You sound gay.
So then I said, okay, dude, hilarious. My co-hosts are absolutely going to want to hear you expound on this. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? I don't, and I'm like, this is so Raven. I cannot wait for whatever, Corey. That's where I thought we were going with this. Thank you. I'm so glad you set this up so well. I'm just waiting on this guy to just call me a nerd. I don't know. Trae and Corey are always blabbering, and you not as much. And when you do, it's calm and thought out and complex. Probably how I've been raised to imagine, but I guess I just thought you'd have smaller arms than you actually do just because you sound smarter. I'm sorry, fam. I can't wait to see you guys live, and thanks for teaching me the word expound.
I bet he thinks I'm a jacked meathead dumbass. Like he probably thinks that I'm ripped because of how stupid I am.
Based on like that, like using that as the foundation for like a hypothesis, if he believes that, it goes to follow that he would believe that Corey is shredded.
What do you think his username is? Obviously, you can't guess that. Do you think it's like normal or wild? And if it's wild, in what way do you think it's wild? Because this dude
Sexual.
This dude is nothing but zigzags, right? Because I was like, okay, I'm a huge nerd to this dude. I'm gonna make him explain for Corey and Trae's entertainment, and then it turns out he roasts you guys. This is the username. 420ing. So far, good, right? Mm-hmm. and 187ing.
That's okay. That's a turn.
Yeah,
Is Snoop Dogg?
For people who don't know,
for Snoop
that's
Dogg?
smoking weed and then murder. That's the police code for murder.
Which is the case that they gave Snoop Dogg.
What do you think he's 187ing?
Squirrels?
Pussy.
666.
The devil?
Murdering.
Bro.
Dude, he's smoking weed and killing the devil.
I did not see that coming.
You guys know, just smoking weed, killing the devil.
That's the opposite
don't
of where I
hit.
thought that was going to go.
Calling me a nerd, but also clearly the smartest man alive. You can't pin this guy down.
Smoking
Right.
weed and killing the devil. I'll go back. Like, you think he means like, the devil in his life, like or you know what I mean, or like just like the Bible devil, like smoking weed and loving Jesus.
Bible devil hits.
Right, smoking weed and loving Jesus. I'm sure it happens.
Rasta. Is that what Rasta is?
It's Rasta, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I guess.
Is that ignorance?
Well, I don't know. Is Rasta?
Oh, also libertarianism.
True.
And hating blacks. You got to put that part in there.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
You're right. But like loving Jesus enough to make your thing about Jesus, but also weed. That is wild.
It's wild.
You've
It's-
blown my mind.
It's wilder than his wild comment.
I'd like to apologize to that guy for talking too much on our podcast. Don't hit for him.
The hour-long talk session.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't listen to podcasts. There are people running off at the mouth. Anyway.
Well, you don't seem calm, is what I think his main complaint was. If you blabber, you're not calm, you're not thought out or complex.
All right.
Babble is a word
It
for
was
carrying
blabber,
on
but
too.
go
I
ahead.
feel like when you
It's funny. I'm not gonna lie. It's like you say all that about Corey, and I'm like, yeah, nailed it, right? But I'm being lumped in with it, and I'm like, I don't think that's fair. Come on, like,
It's he's mad.
Yeah,
Corey,
right.
before you get too mad, please understand
I'm
that I
not
read
mad.
all that, and then you started talking about the word babble, which was not said by anyone.
Oh, I'm not mad at no. I'm not mad at all. I was saying that like normally when I hear people say that, they usually say, "Oh, he babbles a lot," not blabber.
Is it me?
no, he's saying not blabber.
Oh, my bad.
He's saying babble
I'm
instead
saying
of blabber.
Normally, he
Okay.
used the word blabber. I
Okay.
normally hear people say, "Oh, he babbles about all this," but I feel like this guy, because he's talking about me and Trae, he was thinking blubber and he combined the two words.
Combined 'em.
And blabber is what we do. We're fat and we talk.
What'd he do? What'd he do
Combined
then,
them.
Morris?
Combined them. Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of blubber, blabber, all that, earlier Corey described himself as bubbly, except he said bubbly, right? Which is fine, but
Wait, what?
it made me realize you described yourself as having a bubbly personality, but you didn't say bubbly, you said bubbly, which is fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It just made me realize that that's also bubbly, which is also,
Bubbly.
Right. Yeah.
Bubba Lee is somebody
Bubbly.
who would do really well at the NFL Combine.
Yeah, right. Not somebody.
And he would have a wonderful endorsement with a drink company.
And a rib company.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah,
right.
dude! I could
Bubba
sell
Lee's.
ribs.
Yeah, I
No
know. We've
shit.
all seen the picture. Well, the people haven't, but there's a picture of. We ever showed the picture on here?
You'll have to
think so.
give it to Aaron so he can show it next week. He's been crushing with pictures.
Trey can find this picture in less time than it would take you to consume a plate of ribs back then. So Trey can get it to
Yeah.
Aaron, and we can get it to people right now.
I got it.
You ever had
It's
ribs
right
with
here.
toffee on it?
Trey, can you email that real quick? And then Aaron, can we pull it up that way?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
While you're doing that,
It does need to be seen.
My baby's 2 days late.
Yeah, but every week I'm like, what's going on? Because I keep thinking it's supposed to be here.
Let me
And
ask
it's
you a
supposed-
question. I don't know about babies. You got 2 of them. Do you think the longer it's in there, the more chances it comes out fat? Because that's all I
It
want.
cooks.
All I think about is bacon, bun in the oven.
They rise.
I mean, that is-
It ain't gonna come
But
out
no,
black
that is
though. You know
true.
what I'm saying?
It ain't gonna get
no
burnt.
matter how long you leave it in there, it's not gonna.
I mean, it
it's
could.
still gonna be
No, but
white.
it won't be
It's
because of the
right, but it
time.
won't be, yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
It's probably only a couple, decimal
Ounces?
points of weight, but like, yeah.
All I want, people are like, you want a boy? You want a girl? Because we don't know. You want a boy? You want a girl? I want a fat baby. And Andy's
Yep.
like, well, that'll take a week or 2. And I'm like, well, then I'll catch me later in a week or 2. I ain't got no use for a skinny fucking baby. I want a fat one. I want to suckle on its cheeks, dude. I want it to look like the Michelin Man.
I believe you.
Yeah, mine's getting fat, and it's great.
Yeah.
This is the best.
I've seen
like,
it.
I obviously
Looks like your
loved
dad.
him when he was born.
I didn't mean that the way
What?
it sounded. He looks like your dad. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. It just looks like Dale looking at me.
How about Corey?
No, he does. He is fat.
Corey poked his
not
baby in
what
the
I
eye
meant,
with cheese.
Dale.
Cheese dip.
I did.
How did I forget?
Yeah, yeah. He was trying to feed him cheese dip and film it with his phone. So he had cheese dip on his finger in front of his baby's head, and he's holding his phone like this, and he's like, "Here, eat this cheese dip. Eat this cheese dip, boy." And the baby's being a baby, so it's doing this shit with what babies do.
Head-butted my eye.
And it just went blop right on his eye, right on Corey's cheesy finger, and Corey starts not like freaking out. He's like, "Oh fuck, it's in his eye, it's in his eye, goddamn!" It was tremendous.
And the resignation
what made Amber-
in Amber's voice when she said, "Corey."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Hey,
Well, what's
you got
funny
that pic,
is
Aaron?
because she was actually
do.
mad at all of us at the moment.
Pull that pic up
because
while he talks.
I had do what?
Talk about you poking your baby in the eye with cheese dip while this is on.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it every time this picture comes up because it makes me feel so good about where I'm at now.
By the way,
Because,
I've somehow never noticed this, Corey. I guess because of how massive you look, I just couldn't look at anything else.
Those are dinosaur
look at those
ribs.
fucking
Yeah,
ribs,
those
dude.
are Flintstone ribs, dude. He's got
That's
that.
at Black's Barbecue in
beef.
Austin.
Those
They
beef
almost
ribs,
make
buddy.
you look small.
Yeah, but like you said, he could sell ribs. What? Also, Corey, how old are you in this
Not Austin,
picture?
Lockhart.
How old are you in this picture?
I was. Hold on. It was right after my dad had a heart attack. I was 24.
24. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you are baby face there. you know.
He just
Hold
looks
on.
like
It was
a
2009. I
truck
graduated
driver.
in 2006. No, bro. I was.
21.
Yeah. That's closer to 22. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what was your cholesterol then?
Yeah.
Bruh, high as fuck. But again, though, I'm sincerely happy that we've done this because, like, I'm feeling fat now because I've gained like 5 to 6 pounds since we had the baby, and I've had a hard time leveling it off. But like, dude, I am fat now. But compared
No.
to that, holy fuck, that looks like a different person.
You're not fat now, first of all. It'd be a hell of a thing for me to do a whole diatribe about how you have body issues after I just made him pull that picture up. But you're not fat.
I'm a bulbous, bubbly man.
Well, now that people that are watching at least have seen the picture, like I've said before, I've talked about how when I first met Corey,
Yeah.
like you just said, you're like, he looks like a fucking truck driver. And I've said before, like when I first met Corey, he was a year or so older than that, not much, but his hairline was progressing backward, you know.
He didn't wear a hat as much.
But he still wore a hat a lot, but when he didn't, he had some hair, but it was going back. And he was like that, basically, that era of Corey. And like I said, like, this is not a bit. I'm not joking.
I look younger now.
I'm not joking at all. I genuinely thought when I met him, I was like, this is a 40-year-old road dog comic who's been divorced twice, been in and out of rehab, whatever else, like, you know, drives a truck when the gigs aren't there or whatever. Like, that is this day. When I found out he was actually 2 or 3 years younger than me and was like 23 at the time, 22, 23, nothing has ever blown my mind more than that.
All that.
But
and
you do, yeah. But you're fine now. You were shot out, buddy. You were shot
rough.
out in your early 20s.
And you were kind of bitter. Like, I don't know what wasn't working out for you,
yeah.
but like it matched. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You were kind of a dick to me, maybe not to Trae. And I was like,
No, I was.
33-year-old
dude. I was in a very
hates me.
Yeah, yeah.
No, listen, and I apologize for that. Genuinely, I feel bad because I mean, all of it. No, I do feel bad. Like it, obviously,
Well, it
I
made
didn't realize
sense. Like I was like,
I know,
it's
but I'm
life's
saying
over.
like, if you looking at that picture, I don't just see. I go immediately to my eyes, and I can remember immediately how I felt back then, which was I was overweight, I was abusing drugs and alcohol, and yes, my dreams weren't coming true at the speed that I thought they were, and also I didn't realize how much actual clinical depression and anxiety and all that shit that I had, that all the drinking and stuff was making it worse. So like I was a miserable fucking person. So like I believe you when you say that, and I'd say that a lot of people, if they met me at that time, they're like they come away thinking that I'm different than the actual person that I am today. You know what I mean?
Who's gay now? 420ing the devil.
I know. I'm just saying.
Trae,
Was he talking about Michael
We
Rappaport
put this
earlier?
picture up, yeah.
Because of Justified or something?
Kind of.
Yeah.
But Corey, the only reason I brought it up is I want the people watching on YouTube to think this guy holding the ribs, he put creamy cheese in his baby's eye.
All right.
You don't say.
So
Yeah.
speaking of people watching on YouTube, Corey got real heavy and sincere there for a second about the issues he was facing in his early 20s. And someone on YouTube is going to notice that I was over here like trying very hard not to laugh out loud, not because of anything he was saying, because I thought about making a joke about how it had to. I was thinking like, and you had to be bummed out because like Fat Boy Drunk was already taken, so what were you going to do, right? Like, I was thinking about saying that, but then I was like, nah, I can't. And then I was like cracking myself up internally. But I knew I couldn't just let it go, because if someone saw it, it would look like I was just like stifling hard laughter at Corey being like, yeah, I wanted to kill myself. I was at the end of my rope, and I'm just over here like,
well, I'm mad that you didn't.
How bad they could make me and you look.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of this boy.
You mean like taking clips?
Yes, which is so funny because he's a psychopath.
Uh-huh.
He used to play literally on loop a song called Drew Don't Hit to open the podcast. Like he would open with it. But someone will put a clip together eventually of me.
Yeah.
Just like, look, this, when he kills himself is when they'll do it. They'll be like, this is why.
I can't kill myself now. I've already made peace with it.
I know, fucking kid, dude. Dude, I got so mad at Andy last night because I thought about her dying. And she's like, what is wrong with you? And I go, I was high. I was like, I just thought about you dying and how if you do, I can't do what my plan was when I thought you was going to die. We're about to get real dark and heavy again. I thought Andy was going to kill herself for like about 6 months. I was like, this is something I've got to like process. She may do that. And I had a plan. Like, I had a fucking bottom of the barrel gutter whore plan. And now that plan's gone to fucking shit, dude.
Oh, right.
Costa Rica. Dude, I think the same thing about Amber.
Though,
Yeah, that's awesome, Trae.
I mean,
do they give heroes pills?
Right. Well, if you're talking about like horrors and stuff, well, I don't, I think it would play in certain circles, is what I'm saying, dude. Like, I just remember, I'm trying to make you feel better.
I know, you're just making me sound worse.
Yeah, right. You did bring it up, but like, I could remember when I worked at O'Charlie's, dude. Anytime a guy, it happened a few times, if a like somewhat younger dude came in with like by himself with a small baby or like a toddler or whatever, especially if it was a girl, seemed like the girls the girls that I worked with who were servers 19 or 20, they would just like, I mean, they'd just melt, bro.
I see what's happening.
They'd be going and telling each other, like, you got to fucking, they'd lose it.
You're misunderstanding me a little bit because I said the phrase gutter whore because I know myself and I know what I'd be doing. But what I'm lamenting is not the. I could get gutter whores right now and throw my whole life away.
Yeah, right.
Giving up is what has been taken from me.
Oh, okay.
Like I can never give up, and the hope,
you can't.
The fantasy of giving up
was all kept you
was
going?
Apparently something I liked. Like it was apparently something I needed. The fantasy of quitting was really appealing to me, and it is fucking gone now.
An option like that. Like I'm glad that I've never killed myself, but there were some times where the thought of killing myself actually brought me out of a depression. Right. Because I was like, I was like, well, I could do that. You know what I mean? But like, I'm the same way with Amber right now. Like I'm inventing situations to get mad at her because like we used to joke all the time about like, oh, Amber will probably die on a jet ski. And like, cause that's the type of person she is. And now I'm thinking about her doing that. And I'm like, because I've taken suicide off the table for me. And I was like, baby, you've got to take dying on a jet ski off the table for you. You have to do that.
It's like a beer pong table.
She doesn't. Like her brain hasn't changed. And I'm like, if you fucking die right now, like I'm going to crush it. And I used to, like, before we had the kid, I had this whole plan. I was like, well, I would be devastated if Amber died on a jet ski, sure. However, the rest of my life would go pretty well once I grieved. And now that's not the case. So,
it would still go well, but one or two particular avenues have been removed from you.
Yes. Yes.
And for me, I don't fantasize about Jesus, we're fucking in it now. I don't fantasize about suicide near as much as I fantasize about quitting. Just absolutely giving the fuck up. Just being a dirt
that's
ball
a good point.
Until you either snap out of it or die.
You just like in a bathrobe drinking whiskey.
I'm about to say drugs and like gutters and shit. You said gutter whore, didn't you? Like, but I'm saying like
that was a very visceral phrase I used, and it has shaped this conversation, and I do regret it.
But like, you're gonna be on somebody's couch.
Who knows? I mean, no, I own a place, dude. It would be yeah. I'd end up there. Little 1-bedroom, big ass lawn, mowing it drunk, 10 in the morning.
Dude, if I didn't have the kid and Amber died, I could 100% keep up my house and basically give up. You know, like I'd have to do some things, but I could pretty much give up most of my drive and still
You got
be
a
fine.
mortgage. I don't have a mortgage.
I do have a mortgage, but it's not that much because of where I live. And like,
You couldn't
dude,
give up
I
better
could
than
make
me.
my mortgage.
You couldn't give up better than me.
Bullshit. Bull fucking shit.
But okay, you don't have at least one aspect of this that I thought before, like, if I'd never, so many comics are maybe by the time they get to 40 and stuff, they're getting married, whatever else. But like, I've been with Katie. We weren't married, but I've been with Katie since I started. Right, and in your most comics for a very long time are single bachelors, whatever. I get it, but I've thought before, like, I get why, but I've thought before, like, how if I'd be
Dick fall off.
I'd
The
be
worst.
either that or like 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Right.
Me.
Like absolute fucking mess of and like would feel like shit all the time too. Cause like if it hadn't been for Katie and the boys and stuff, I don't know if I'd ever toned it down like I did. And like, I don't think that would hit for like,
No,
I know that
dude, eventually not.
That don't feel good.
No, but imagine
Bruh.
how good it would feel getting there.
But see,
Hey,
you don't get fat though like that.
Yes, I
like,
do.
The getting fat part is
you slimy
He gets
son of
fat.
a bitch. I get fat. You guys call me corn dog.
Yeah, right.
We don't have a nickname for Fat Trae.
because he shows up
Cat.
too much. It don't. Yeah, what? Cat.
Felix the cat.
I'm saying, look, none of this is real. If God forbid that had ever happened, I wouldn't go that far ever. She hasn't removed from me. The kid hasn't removed from me the possibility. It's removed from me this dumb fantasy. Andy and I have this like. She has like a dry erase thing on the mirror where she puts little positive messages on it. And I'll put my own messages on there too. And most of the time they're positive. I'm doing it correctly. But sometimes you boys throwing them in there.
No doubt.
A little dagger here and there.
No doubt.
And the last one, this was before the kid, that I wrote that was a joke was, I resent you for making me a better person. That's what I'm getting at is like, of course. Part of the reason I love my wife is she's made me a better person. And of course, having this kid is a good thing because it's going to make me continue on that path. And of course, if God forbid something happened, no, because my mama loves me, I wouldn't go that far. Because I do have a future, I wouldn't let it go that far. Because I have things to live for. But I had this fantasy of just not trying.
Let me
I don't
tell
even
you
have
why
that
you're
anymore.
correct, Trae. I just now figured it out. That trip was a trip me and my dad took after he had a heart attack, right? But we didn't take it for a couple of years because he still had to recover. I think I'm 24 in that picture. My point is, when you're talking about if I was single and a comedian, how would it, thank you.
Yes.
If I was single and a comedian, how would it go? In that picture right there, I had been doing stand-up longer than you had before the Liberal Redneck video came out.
Right,
And I
which is
did the
crazy.
whole thing with, I mean, I was in some types of relationship, but like basically without a steady woman. That is the fuck what happens.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't actually want that.
Yeah.
But I imagine it being so much better than that. Do you know what I mean?
It's
Yeah.
not.
I'm sure.
It would be now. You're not young. I was stupid. Like I was young and stupid. Like if Amber died, and I would know. You know, like I eat healthier. I know how to exercise and stuff. But like, I don't know, man. I'd probably fall apart.
The upshot
look,
of this
dude.
is that I have a stupid fantasy. Like the
Well,
upshot of this is that the
but
fantasy's stupid.
If you want to maintain your fantasy, and I know your whole point is like, but with a kid, I can't because that ruins the. I get that, but like, bro, no one is more of a like stereotypical. Everything's fucked. I'm slowly killing myself, throwing my life away type loser than a guy who has lost his whole family. I don't mean in a fire. I mean by pushing them away or whatever. Like,
Oh, it can't be my fault.
Okay,
Like,
okay,
in
all
this
right.
fantasy,
Okay, I was about to
everyone
say,
feels bad for me.
'cause
Come on,
no one is more, more of a fucking dirtbag
Yeah.
than like that guy, the divorced guy who has a family, like so he's pissed off and they don't fuck with him, and he's lays drunk all day long and don't do shit.
One
Like,
time, my
that's the
mom-
ultimate in dirtbaggery.
One time my mom got angry out loud. She's always angry with my brother for kind of being the guy you just described. And she said in front of me, I wish I could just fucking do pills. And she almost never cusses, right?
Yeah.
She says, I wish I could just do fucking pills. I wish I could just lay down somewhere and not put up with how hard things are.
would hit.
And
She's in the right place for it, am I right? Morgan County.
Yeah.
Like, fucking,
And that's what I'm getting at. I was like, oh shit, mama, me too.
Yeah.
She was making a point.
Yeah,
and I was
right.
like, damn, dude. I guess we all got that. But it's a joke. This is a joke. This is not how I feel. But it's that that little acorn of a thing. This is me. I don't fantasize about suicide the way some people do. I fantasize about quitting.
Mm-hmm.
I used to, but
I told Corey,
I don't do that anymore. For
me
the
and
record.
Corey would.
I don't.
Every now and then, and I hope this ain't like too much or whatever, but
gotta
like
go soon.
I know. Okay, I didn't know what time you guys started because I saw those texts and it was a little late. But like,
There might be another show.
is there, Aaron? We gotta go. Like
yeah,
right
there
now?
was a 2 o'clock.
There is a 2 o'clock. Then we
Tell
gotta go.
everybody
Never
how I
mind.
wanted to kill myself all the time.
I will. Yeah, I'm leaving on the cliffhanger of like how Corey used to talk about killing himself all the time. So they'll be really worried about you and get on to me for not supporting you and all that shit, which is what always happens. Anyway, thanks
Pull the
for listening. Anyway, while you're looking at that, go to TraeCrowder.com, please. Come see me. I'm about to be in Ohio this whole next few days as you're listening to this, and then Kentucky, a bunch of places. TraeCrowder.com. Order around here and over yonder. It's available now, finally. And yeah, Drew.
I got Atlanta and San Francisco coming up. October and early December, respectively. And that's all I got on my plate.
Hey, yeah. So the book is out now, Round Here and Over Yonder. Get it wherever you get your books. We appreciate y'all. And also over at parttimefunnyman.com, my Substack, we are right in the middle of an audio drama detective series, Colonel Cornbread and the Case of the Confederate Ruby. Go check that out. Subscribe. It's $5. Love y'all. And thank you all for listening to the. What are y'all laughing at?
It's just very you. It's just a very you thing.
Bro,
Colonel Cornbread in the case of Colonel Cornbread in the case of the Confederate Ruby.
I had no
or-
idea
yeah.
you were doing that. I thought it was a bit till halfway through the sentence.
No. Now I'm doing audio dramas now.
That rules. But that's such a fucking funny sentence.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. I'm in it
no
to be.
idea.
All right, sing us out, Chubb. Somebody's waiting.
Thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you've got nothing to do. Ooh. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew.
Ooh, Fat Boy Drunk did it. That's who did it.
Fart, bye.
This episode is brought to you by the new book, Round Here and Over Yonder, written by authors Trae Crowder and Corey Ryan Forrester. That's ya boy. The book is out now. I would like to thank everyone who did the pre-order, but for those of you who were like, you know what, I want to wait and actually go to a bookstore and pick this thing up, well, you can do that right now. Round Here and Over Yonder, a front porch travel guide written by two progressive hillbillies. Parenthetical, yes, that's a thing. We love long titles, but we love making you laugh even more. This book is chock full of jokes. We chock filled it too. It's got a bunch of jokes in it. It's really, really, really fun. We tried to take the stereotypes of certain regions, talk about what they are, talk about what they got right, talk about what the actual reality is. Of course, we did it with our own little region here in the South. We went everywhere else in the United States, and for the first time in our lives, we went to the UK. It's Rednecks Abroad. The book is Round Here and Over Yonder. Not to brag on us, but I will. It is hilarious. Pick it up now wherever you get books. And by the way, we narrated the audio version if that's how you want to digest it. But there is no wrong way. Round Here and Over Yonder, wherever you get your books.